just fainting and so forth. And the district is suggesting that that has nothing to do with it. Now, to their credit, they're trying to eliminate the problem, so they've rolled half of the buses off property, now in someone else's backyard. But they're still idling the buses for an hour. I was told recently that they've decided to cut the idling to a half hour. Now, state DEC requires idling no more than 5 minutes. And in certain circumstances, and they mention specifically trucks, but I would imagine it could be viewed as to include buses, in certain circumstances where the weather is below 32 degrees, up to 15 minutes.
Okay, I was going to ask you, middle of the winter, you have to
idle
a little bit.
But 15 minutes is not an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. And, if you cut that by 1/5, let alone to the 5 minutes and above 32 degree temperatures, you're going to cut most of that problem. Now, so they closed down the school building because in terms of air access early in the morning before the children get there. So they've created this bubble, this box, and now the fumes can't get in from the rear of the building. Now when they drop off the kids in the front, the school building's so tight. They have an exhaust fan, a central exhaust system. The building is so tight that when the buses are in the front, kids open the doors, the exhaust from the diesel rushes right into the front door. So now they're battling a second problem. And they're not grasping that. They've got air quality inspectors, they've got all sorts of folks there, but they're fighting two different problems at the same time. And they need to really address the one problem, the idling in the rear of the building, first. If the building were able to breathe properly, you wouldn't have that rushing of air in at the second component. And so the district really needs to make themselves open to, well, first the criticisms, and second the potential solutions. They've also now, instead of dropping the kids in front of the school building, they're dropping them 300, 400 feet away, which, parents are upset because the kids are walking through ice, cold, whatever. Sure. Wait till it starts raining and pouring, then what are they going to do? So, as I said, this has not been a problem until late, where they've decided to close down the building air-wise, and now they've caused this second problem to surface.
Have they been receptive to some of these suggestions?
Well, they're one of the arguments is, well, you're not the expert. Let's have the experts analyze this and see what they say. And the experts have been analyzing it for 5 years, and they need to have a fresh set of eyes look on it. I'm not suggesting my eyes need to be that fresh set, but I think the logic that I bring forth makes good sense. And I think it's fallen upon some listening ears. Some changes are being made for the positive, but the kids are at stake here, and it doesn't even go to the health of the bus drivers and the
Sure.
transportation workers, the repair guys. That plume sits in their yard day after day after day as the buses are running in the morning, and the drivers are working amidst it, and it's not a healthy situation, healthy condition. They're also traveling around through the towns as they sit there with the buses idling. The bus is filled with fumes. So now we go pick up kids, and we've got residual fumes in the buses. They're not grasping all of that, and I don't know why it is, but we're bringing it to the forefront. And I've been vocal, and so hopefully we'll make some good changes and help the health of our community.
This is why Tony's a great county legislator, because from issue to issue, he's like a pit bull. I know he looks a little bit like a bulldog, but he's a pit bull, and on the issues, and doing the people's work. They need an advocate.
It's not just a health issue, but it's obviously you're saving money.
Taxpayer.
You're burning fuel for 45 minutes.
It's 1 gallon per hour is what it costs to idle a bus. Idling, not transportation.
For each bus. And how many buses are we talking about?
Well, each bus in Mayapack, you're talking about 66 diesel buses. Okay, so multiply that by what we assume to be 100 cold days per year, and sure. And now I listen. The past is behind us, and hopefully they'll change their ways. And I won't be able to see whether or not they're idling in the spring and summer as well. But who knows? If there's air conditioning in the bus, who knows if they're idling and keeping the air conditioning running for comfort purposes?
Well, we're glad you're here to shed some light on this issue and others.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
Transparency again. That's the theme of today's show, and the next show we're going to do too. Today is, February is Black History Month, and not going to shift gears a little bit here, Greg. We have you on the floor speaking about...
Absolutely. We'll take a look at that. Yeah.
Sure, let's look at it, and when we'll come back, we'll comment further with someone in Greg Ball.
But as we do send hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars to Haiti, I want everybody to know, as I know you do, that there still is a form of slavery, mostly slavery of children, and as those dollars go into that needy nation, we've got to make sure that the dollars are well spent, because as we stand in the greatest nation that the world has ever known, slavery continues to exist around the globe. We see it through human trafficking right here in the United States of America. As we spend billions of dollars around the world, we should make sure that those dollars are used to ensure that the progress that we've seen here in this country continues elsewhere. Thank you.
Greg,
It was a resolution introduced by Keith Wright, who is the assemblyman from Harlem. When I first got elected on the comptroller vote and said this is the most dysfunctional legislature in the United States of America, Keith Wright was the one who stood up and said, well, resign then, resign.
I recall that.
But he's become a very good friend. And the point goes that we have accomplished so much, and we still have racism in this country, no doubt about it. But as we continue to be a global superpower, we've got to make sure, and we got to remember that while we've accomplished great things on civil rights and, of course, on slavery, slavery still exists around the world, and we've got to be a force for good.
Greg, that's the last word. Tony Fusco,
Fusco.
thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon on Assembly Calendar. I'm Ted Flint.
Thank you very much.